and it was called Big Mac's The World's Greatest Detective. And it's a fun book. So they had it, so I took it out and went into the library and read it to them. Now, what's interesting about it is when my children were your age, I would read Big Mac's The World's Greatest Detective when they were little. Now they're all adults, they all have children, and I read the same book to their children, my grandchildren. And guess what? When they got old enough, they read the book to me now. They read the book to me. So when you read, you can go and read books to your family. So that's, books are so good. Now this one, I haven't read yet, but I heard it was a good one on Bullies Never Win. And we all agree that bullying is bad and bullies never win. And let's start out. Jessica was a worrier. She worried night and day. Are you any worriers in this room? No. A little bit. Sometimes you worry. Yeah, everybody worries a little bit. She worried about her socks not matching and having knobby knees and losing her berets. Barrettes? What are they?
Barrettes.
Barrettes. See, I never wear them. I didn't realize. See, that you taught me something by me reading to you. Barrettes. And not doing well in school. She worried about that too. But in Mr. Martin's first grade class, Jessica had a big worry. Brenda Bailey. Brenda was perfect. Her bangs were even. Her homework was always right. She wore a new outfit every day. And she scowled when Jessica did something better than she did. We don't like her, do we? We don't like Brenda. If Jessica got all her homework right, Brenda would say, "I bet you cheated." So Jessica hid her homework. If Jessica wore a new skirt to school, Brenda would say, "Your legs look like toothpicks." So Jessica started wearing pants. If Jessica scored at a kickball, Brenda would say, "We're just lucky." So Jessica stopped playing kickball. So what this bully is doing is making her change things that she would want to do. Now that's wrong. That's wrong. Brenda never asked Jessica to sit with her at lunch. Instead, Brenda sat with all her friends, and Jessica sat alone. Jessica got tired of sitting by herself, so one day she tried sitting at Brenda's table. "Look who's here, toothpick." Jessica's eyes started to sting. She blinked to keep from crying. She left the cafeteria without finishing her lunch. Boy, this is getting serious now, isn't it?
Yes.
It's getting very, very bad. After school, Jessica went to her room. She stared at the wall. She worried. What terrible thing would Brenda say next? Jessica thought about Mr. Martin. He had told the class that sometimes bullies stop bullying if you just ignore them. But how could Jessica ignore a bully who was always in her face? At dinners, Dad asked, "How was school?" Jessica stared at her food. "What's wrong?" asked Mom. "Nothing," said Jessica. See, she's got to talk to somebody, doesn't she? Yeah. She can't just let this keep going worse and worse and worse. That night, Jessica couldn't fall asleep. She squeezed her eyes shut and tried to count sheep. But instead, she saw perfect little Brendas leaping over the fence. The next morning, her eyes felt as dry as sand and her stomach hurt. "Can I stay home today?" she asked Mom. Her mother felt her forehead. "You don't feel hot?" "I have a stomach ache," said Jessica. "I guess you are sick," said Mom. "Go back to bed." Immediately, Jessica's stomach felt better. See, she didn't even want to go to school because of how horrible this Brenda was. So this has got to be fixed somehow. Does anybody have an idea of how it could get fixed? How could it get fixed?
Just tell the parents.
Tell the parents? Anybody else? Yes?
If you go nurse.
Pardon me?
If you go to the nurse.
I couldn't understand you. I'm sorry.
If you go to the nurse.
Oh, you go to the nurse? Yeah, that's another way. Yes?
Tell a teacher.
Tell a teacher. That's good. Yes?
Tell the principal.
That's a good one.
Tell your mom.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tell her dad.
Now you covered it all. Who else? Yes.
Tell your granny.
Grammy?
Tell your granny.
Tell your senator? No. You got all the right answers. You got all the right answers. But she knew she couldn't avoid Brenda forever. So the following day, Jessica went to school. All morning, Jessica ignored Brenda. But at lunchtime, she discovered that Mom had packed her sandwich in Tom's lunchbox. Uh-oh, she's got the boy's lunchbox. She tried to shove it behind her back before Brenda could see, but she wasn't quick enough. "Toothpick has a boy's lunchbox," Brenda said to everyone. Jessica's cheeks felt like chili peppers, real hot. How could Mom have made such a mistake? "Come sit over here," called Anita. Jessica quickly sat down next to Anita and her friends. "That Brenda's such a bully," said Anita. "You should stand up to her." But Jessica couldn't. So it's always good, maybe a friend will help you too. That's another way. When she got home, Jessica told her mother, "You packed my lunch in Tom's lunchbox. It's a boy's lunchbox." "I was in a hurry," said Mom. "I'm sorry." She paused. "What difference does it make? Your lunch is your lunch no matter what it's packed in." "It makes a big difference," said Jessica, and she burst into tears. I think she'll tell her mom now?
No.
No, you don't think so?
Yes.
All right, well, let's see. "This can't be just about lunch," said Mom. "It's about Brenda," said Jessica, hiccuping between sobs. "She picks on me. She calls me Toothpick. Today she teased me about Tom's lunchbox." "That's terrible," said Mom. "Have you told her how you feel?" "No," cried Jessica. "Then she'd really make fun of me." "Why don't you talk to Mr. Martin?" That's the teacher, suggested Mom. "If he knew that Brenda was bullying you, he'd do something about it." That night, Jessica tossed and turned. Should she talk to Mr. Martin? Should she stand up to Brenda? What could she say to her? "Your bangs are ugly. Your knees are flat as pancakes. Your freckles look like pimples." Nah, that wouldn't work, because if you do the same thing, then you're being just as bad. The next morning, Brenda came up behind Jessica in the hallway. "Toothpick," Brenda hissed. Jessica's heart began to pound. She thought about what her mother had said. She turned around and blurted, "I'm going to tell Mr. Martin if you keep picking on me." "Tattletale," said Brenda, and she stuck out her tongue and ran into the classroom. Boy, she looks pretty ugly with her tongue out, doesn't she? Yeah, that doesn't make her look any good. At lunch, Jessica sat with Anita again. Brenda was at the next table with all her friends. "Hey, Toothpick," called Brenda. "Did you bring your brother's lunchbox again? No wonder you're so skinny. You eat baby food." Jessica stood up. Enough was enough. She put her hands on her hips in a loud voice and said, "Toothpicks may be thin, but bullies never win." Oh, she got brave, didn't she? And that's the name of the book, Bullies Never Win. Brenda blushed. She got all red. Her freckles turned pink. For once, she didn't say anything. Jessica threw back her shoulders and marched out of the cafeteria. Ooh, I guess she stood up to her, didn't she? At dinner, Laura asked, did you stand up to that bully Brenda?" "Why didn't she like my lunchbox?" asked Tom. "Pass the spaghetti," said Dad. "How'd things go?" asked Mom. "I don't think Brenda will pick on me anymore," said Jessica. "But even if she does, I know what to do." "Hooray for Jessica," said her family. "Hooray for toothpicks," said Jessica. So now she thinks toothpick is a funny statement. And that night, Jessica fell asleep without any more worries. Now, did you like that book? Yeah. But there's one other thing. Sometimes bullies are mean, and sometimes bullies hit. And sometimes if you say something back to bullies, it might cause them to even get more angry and do something even worse. So sometimes it's better to tell the teacher rather than go face to face with the bully, because some bullies are really mean. So lesson is number one, bullies never win, correct? Yeah. They may be bullies, but they're never going to win. Number two, if someone's bullying you, either say something to the bully, or if you think the bully would do something like hit you, then it's better to go talk to the teacher or the principal and tell that person what happened. Okay? And now there's an easier way. If none of you act like bullies, then there's no problem. That's the best solution to everything. I hope you had some fun. And what did I tell you that's most important to remember? What?
Bullies.
Bullies, about bullies, and also read. And when you get done reading, what do you do then?
Sing.
No, you don't sing. What do you do after you read?
Get smarter.
Get smarter? What do you do after you get done reading?
You get smarter and smarter.
Right, and read some more after you get reading the first book, okay? It's fun, it's fun. Okay, and thank you very much.